thing now that I think is a little specific to you. I've been personally asked to contribute to Stratus Caster's book on close calls, which talks about incidents that experienced divers have had. I think I saw you might be in there as well. But I talked
Yep.
to Harry a bit about episode 37, or in episode 37, about his experiences, and he mentioned your lost line incident.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I thought, man, I can just in my mind go through what you might have gone through. But the one added thing was you weren't just responsible for yourself at that time, were you? You had a child under your arm and you were trying to extract them several kilometers out of a cave. So can you share a little bit about that experience and what you went through and how you solved the problem that really presented itself to you?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. The key bit there was having somebody else. And I remember at the time thinking, hey, if I need to, I can get out of this. I remember thinking, I got a lot of gas, it's pretty warm, other people come through this, so I've got a hell of a long time to look, right? And it's not a big passage, you know.
Hmm.
But crikey, I can't possibly contemplate, kind of, I know, leaving the boy here and trying to do that. That's just not an option. Um, so it's back into the stuff that you learn when you're trained, right? All the standard stuff about sweeping with your arms to try and pick up that
Hmm.
lost line, and I knew exactly where that line was. That's the thing. I knew it was up to my sort of diagonally up to my left, and I knew it had pinged. I say pinged, kind of. It'd been under tension. It slipped through my
Hmm.
fingers. It shot back up amongst the kind of rocks up in the roof, and I knew it was there somewhere. But no matter how much I swept and tried to get my hand up in there was just no way I could get at it. I did then realise, I thought, well, I know which direction this line goes and which direction this rope goes in. So I thought, well, if I just go in that direction, it's not a big passage. I mean, it really wasn't huge. I'm going to pick it up as long as I keep sweeping. And so I went in that direction, kept sweeping, and rather than pick up that, I picked up an electrical cable, which,
Hmm.
right, it's not you don't normally find electrical cables in sumps. That was
No.
a bit of an unusual one, but picked up that electrical cable, and then managed to follow that. And that electrical cable actually took me in a roundabout way back into the cave, which was really confusing. Surface somewhere I kind of didn't recognise. And then realised where I was, and Jason came by, and then and then Harry came by, and and then obviously Harry picked up the boy and took the boy from me at that point. So I guess I was in the water, kind of disorientated or off the line for all of about 5 minutes, maybe even less. Um, and I imagine I think I managed to control my breathing to a reasonable degree.
Hmm.
But absolutely, I could feel the adrenaline kind of building, and the heart rate kind of going up a little bit at that point. So yeah, it's I put it this way, I don't recommend it. Hang on to that line.
Yeah.
But it's a good reminder, isn't it?
Mm.
A microsecond of complacency. A second where it just slipped out. I didn't grip the rope just quite tightly enough. This was on the third day. Everything had been going so smoothly that day. I'd done, several trips in and out prior to that. I was pretty much out, and I'd kind of nailed it. I kind of knew, felt like I knew the sum really, really well. And you're complacent for just a second, and it gets you right. So it's a lesson that, don't lose that concentration.
Yeah, yeah. And I think many lessons there, as there are in most incidents. Number one, as you say, don't become complacent, don't lose concentration. But then when you're in the midst of it, and I remember talking to Jill Heineth about this, and she talked about kind of steps on the path to survival. What is the next thing that I need to do? I'm in this situation now. What do I need to do first? As you say, you needed to try and find the line. Okay, if you don't find the line, what's the next thing I need to do? And so you have these little steps in your mind that you need to kind of break down a big picture into these little small pieces so that you can solve the problem in front of you.
Yeah, and it's the classic incident pit as well, right? So
Hmm.
you're thinking, okay, I'm at the top of the incident pit, or maybe a little way down at this point because it's reasonably severe. But if I take the next step in the wrong direction, it's going to get harder, right? So
Hmm.
I pretty much know where I am. I pretty much know the lines up to the kind of top left, as it were. Now, if I go off in the wrong direction now, I'm going to make things even worse. So
Yes.
yeah, it's easy to make more mistakes at that point, which makes things worse,
Yep.
rather than make the right decisions. And I guess, when you make that next step, you've got to know if that was the right thing to do, or go, that was the wrong thing to do. Let's go back a step, because the more steps forward you go, the further and further you are away from that original incident, which I was pretty. I hadn't moved, right.
Hmm.
The line was just there,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but the further and further you go away from that line in trying to find it, the further and further into that incident pit
Well,
potentially
there.
slipping.
Yeah. I remember there was a saying. If you get lost, don't get lost. And
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
exactly. So yeah, good one. I think I might have got that from wreck diving. I remember John Chatterton had some very similar things when I did my advanced wreck training with him, which was within a ship. There's lots of girders and pieces of ship structure that actually are your guidelines. And so
Hmm.
take notice of them on your way in and out of the ship, because they may well be your method of exit if you lose other methods, or be it a strobe or be it a line. So yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing on that, because it was something that was kind of very particular to you and that rescue, and I also thought it was a big part of the drama. So I hope they feature that in the movie when it comes out,
Sure,
because
sure they will. I'm sure they will.